Next, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion, Fisher.
We have a second.
I'll second Marks.
Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
and President Ginder.
Yes.
Approval passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Next is courtesy of the floor. Melissa, is anybody there from the public wishing to speak?
Yes, we have Lori Ann Fainall.
Okay, Lori Ann Fainall, name, address, and please go forward.
Hi, Lori Ann Fainall, 3107 North 3rd Street, Whitehall. I'm sorry I'm going to be brief with this, but I did make a promise to the Station 40 members that I would speak. I'm actually recovering from a reaction to the Moderna vaccine. I'm in the hospital, but I wanted to be here and I don't have all my notes with me. But I want to start off by saying this. Chief Nelson, I have 100% respect for you. I've always found you polite and kind and a gentleman, and you've done a lot of good for this township. And I know there's a lot of emotions involved with the closure, but I have family in Cement and that live on 3rd Street, just north of the firehouse. And I disagree with the closure. One is because you have the trail that's right there. Thousands of people use the trail. You also have the river. And there's many activities that go on in that river. You got people tubing, you got people fishing, all that type of stuff. I understand my voice not changed the outcome, but I think this could have been done in a more professional manner. Not notifying the constituents in that area of the shutdown prior, not even giving a warning. Members, the mayor, you gave those people a promise you weren't going to shut them down. But yet you did. It was a slap in the face to those people who put their heart and soul into that station. I still think it should not be shut down. I feel this was just wrong. There's a lot of the rumor mill, but there's facts too. And I understand with Egypt being a mile away, you know, they have more members, and I totally understand that as well. But I just wanted to be a voice, to raise my concern about it, and that I promised to speak about it, and I am. So thank you for listening, commissioners, and that's all I have to say.
Mayor, Chief, do you wish to comment?
I would be glad to comment, Phil. And simply to say, I believe I made the right decision. I admit that I should have called the men first, and I would have perhaps at the following Monday, I might have been able to make the decision to speak with them first, and then make the decision that I did to move things. But under the circumstances with which I was confronted, given that there were at least 3 more members who indicated pretty clearly by their actions that they were going to be moving somewhere else, it left me in a position to believe that we had significant liability, and I could not take the chance. And I went ahead and made the decision. I know Dave worked hard to try to get to the guys, but I'll live with the accusation being true that I did not reach out to them before I noted the decision to the board and to the community. But I have to stand by my decision, and I'll live with it. My apologies to the men and women at 40, but I think I did the right thing.
Are there any other comments?
No comments.
I would like to go on record with this. I was not involved in the negotiations. But I do know the story of what happened. I've seen all the inner workings of what happened. The mayor has told me what happened. I've seen the chief's notes to this. And I support the decision the mayor made 100%. He was put in a corner, an unbelievable corner, and had to make the hard decision, and he made it. And the decision he made, I agree with, given the position he was in. Any other comments? There being none, anybody else in the public wishing to speak?
No, there is no one from the public wishing to speak.
Okay. Next is public hearing and voting on ordinances. Bill number 32, 2020 has been pulled by the township. That will not be heard this evening. Then we go to public hearing and voting on resolutions. Resolution number 3143. A resolution reappointing Alberta Scatharo to serve on the Whitehall Township Zoning Hearing Board. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Warren.
I'll second D.
Any comments from the board? Comments from the public?
No comments from the public.
Thank you. There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Warren? Aye. Commissioner D?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Attia? Commissioner Sloniker? Aye. Commissioner Marks?
Yes.
And President Ginder.
Yes.
Resolution passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Resolution number 3144. A resolution reappointing John Goetz to serve on the Whitehall Township Building Corp Board of Appeals. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Marks.
A second?
I'll second Fisher.
Okay.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Attia?
Yes.
Commissioner D?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren? Aye. Commissioner Sloniker? Aye. And President Ginder.
Yes.
Resolution passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Resolution number 3145. Resolution reappointing Alan Sant Jr. to serve on the Whitehall Township Building Code Board of Appeals. Do I have a motion?
I'll move. Sloniker.
A second.
I'll second Marks.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Sloniker? Aye. Commissioner Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren? Aye. Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Attia?
Yes.
Commissioner D?
Aye.
And President Ginder.
Yes.
Motion, resolution passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Under other, motion to approve the reappointment of Jeffrey Warren to serve on the Whitehall Township Industrial Commercial Development Authority, term expiring December 31st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make
I'll
a
move.
motion, D.
Second,
I'll second Sloniker.
comments from the board? Comments from the public? There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner D?
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker? Aye. Commissioner Attia?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren,
I'll abstain.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
I guess that's everybody. Oh,
Me,
Ginder, yeah,
yes.
okay. Motion passes 6 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention.
Motion to approve the reappointment of Ben Smith to serve on the Whitehall Township Industrial Commercial Development Authority, term expiring December 31st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, Warren.
Fisher.
Comments from the board? Any comments from the public? There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
and President Ginder.
Yes.
Motion passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion to approve the reappointment of Joseph Bonshak to serve on the Copley Whitehall Sewer Authority, term expiring December 31st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Marks.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it to you.
Comments from the board? Any comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Commissioner,
Aye.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Fisher.
Aye.
And President Ginder.
Yes.
Motion passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion to approve the reappointment of Barry Keck to serve on the Whitehall Township Police Pension Board, term expiring December 31st, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll move. Sloniker.
Do we have a second?
I'll second D.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia, Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren. Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
and President Ginder.
Yes.
Motion passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion to approve the reappointment of Antonio Pineda to serve on the Whitehall Township Environmental Advisory Council, term expiring December 31st, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Marks.
Second,
I'll second it to you.
comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
And so I just have you left, Phil, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Commissioner, yeah, President Ginder. Motion passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion to approve the reappointment of Kevin Sorensis to serve as an alternate on the Whitehall Township Tax Appeal Board, term expiring December 31st, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I'll move. Swaniker.
Do I have a second?
I'll second Fisher.
Comments from the board?
President Ginder,
Yes.
I would just like to thank all who has stepped up to volunteer on these boards. You're doing your township a great service. I thought I'd just save it to the end, but everybody that we have nominated and appointed tonight, I'd just like to give a big thank you to stepping up and volunteering to help our township be a better place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
That's important.
You're here.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Swaniker, aye. Commissioner Fisher, Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Atia,
Yes.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
and President Ginder.
Yes.
Did I get you, Mr. Marks?
Yes, you did.
Okay. It's difficult. I don't have a desk. Thank you.
Did you give the totals, Tom?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Motion passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right, before we get to the reports of public officials, I have a statement I wish to read into the record. Now that the accountants have completed their examination, I will read this statement. It is a statement of the Board of Commissioners of Whitehall Township regarding funds missing from the Whitehall Township Treasurer's Office. The date of this statement is today, January the 11th, 2021. In late June 2019, Whitehall Township, hereafter the Township, discovered irregularities in the Township Treasurer's Office. Records were discovered that indicated certain real estate tax, per capita tax, and garbage fees were received but not immediately deposited as required by the Township Charter. An initial investigation was conducted by the Township Treasurer. That investigation led the Treasurer and Township to conclude that a Township employee under the Treasurer's supervision might have committed fraud. The Whitehall Township Police were notified and they commenced an investigation. The Township immediately placed a Township employee in the tax office on administrative leave, and shortly thereafter, the Board of Commissioners, hereafter referred to as the Board, was notified of the incident. The Board, Township, and Treasurer agreed. Wait, I lost my place. Here we go. That in addition to a police investigation, an outside independent fraud examination should be conducted. Therefore, in August of 2019, the Township retained Bucknell Asicki and Company to perform a comprehensive examination. Bucknell Asicki and Company conducted a detailed investigation in coordination with the Whitehall Township Police and the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office. In December 2020, Bucknell Asicki and Company completed its work and provided the board with its findings and recommendations. We believe it is imperative that the citizens of Whitehall Township are aware of what happened in the Treasurer's Office and what has happened since this incident was discovered. Therefore, we report the following regarding this incident, the subsequent investigation, and our actions. Number one, the Bucknell Asicki and Company investigation conclusively determined that a total of $77,992 in township and school district taxes and garbage fees paid to the treasurer in 2018 and 2019 cannot be accounted for. Number two, the township will be making a claim to attempt to recover its portion of the missing taxes and fees. Number three, all current township employees who work or have worked in the treasurer's office since the irregularities were discovered have been fully vetted by the township. Number 4, one township employee who worked in the treasurer's office and was placed on administrative leave in June 2019 is no longer working for the township. Number 5, the Whitehall Township Police conducted a comprehensive investigation and, in coordination with the Lehigh County District Attorney, determined that they would not be filing charges against anyone at this time. Number 6, Bucknell, Lasicki and Company made a series of recommendations to the treasurer for internal controls to be implemented in the treasurer's office to prevent further similar incidents. Number 7, the township has and will take steps in its power to ensure that its employees comply with the recommended internal controls. Number 8, the board has determined that the treasurer, let me read that again. Number 8, the board has demanded that the treasurer comply with her obligations under the township charter and insists that she follow the recommendations made by Bucknell, Lasicki and Company. Based on the treasurer's actions since the discovery of the missing funds and her refusal to implement all internal controls recommended by Bucknell, Lasicki and Company, the board intends to take the following steps. Number 1, beginning in January 2021, study potential changes to the township charter to change the duties, responsibilities, and procedures of the Office of Township Treasurer. Number 2, consider additional periodic audits or outside financial reviews of the treasurer's office. Number 3, if determined necessary, the board will take a vote of no confidence at a public meeting and ask the current treasurer to resign her position immediately. Number 4, if determined necessary, the board will petition the governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to remove the current treasurer from her office for dereliction of her duties and responsibilities as treasurer. And number 5, direct the township administration to take steps to recover all costs of the investigation regarding this matter, including forensic accounting costs, legal fees, postage, port and collection costs, and other costs and expenses identified as related to this matter. The board notes that the preceding statement relates to this investigation only and does not list all of the other problems and concerns with the treasurer that have been brought to the attention of members of the board, including her cursing, yelling, and screaming at township employees, failing to provide required reports in a timely manner, and continually failing to make deposits as required by the township charter. That is the end of the letter. I wish that read into the public comments, into the public record. Are there any comments?
There are no comments.
Any comments by the commissioners?
Mr. President, I make a motion that under item 3 of the previous statement, that would take a vote of no confidence against the Whitehall Township Treasurer, Colleen Gober.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? I will second the motion. Discussion from the board. Any discussion from the public?
There are no discussion from the public.
Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Ginder,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloniker, nay. Commissioner Warren,
Nay.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
is that an aye? I'm sorry.
That's an aye.
Okay.
Hello?
Commissioner Atia,
No, wait, hold on. I got to listen a minute. Where are you at with the vote, Tom? The treasurer called in. I had to put her on hold here a second.
okay, I'm at Commissioner Fisher, who said aye.
Okay, next.
Commissioner Atia,
Yes.
and Commissioner D.
Nay.
Yes, Colleen. Hold on, everybody. I'm not, oh boy. Let me try. Do you have any objection if I put my phone on speakerphone and see if they can hear you? Now, hold on. Try and speak, Colleen. All right, I have Colleen on speaker. She wanted to make some comments and she could not get through. Can anybody hear her? I have her on my speakerphone. I don't know how to handle this.
If not, I will go to the mayor's office and speak there.
Why, if you can, why don't you go to the mayor's office and speak instead of over the phone? It's probably easier to hear for everybody to hear.
Thank you.
She's walking over to the mayor's office. She wishes to speak. Where were we at with the vote? I missed it. I was on the phone with the treasurer.
As it stands right now, you have 4 ayes and 3 nays.
Okay. Attorney Gross. Question, are we okay
Hello.
with what we're doing? Hey, hold on a minute, Colleen. Attorney Gross.
Are you okay? In what way? I'm sorry, Mr. President.
With Colleen speaking at this point.
Sure, absolutely. I believe you. It sounds like she just got disconnected when she was trying to respond earlier when you offered her the opportunity, and I think it's appropriate for her to have an opportunity.
I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right.
Agreed.
Okay.
It was unfortunate timing, I think.
Well, that's the problem we're dealing with with this online stuff, and we all know it. So we just have to be as open as we can. Okay, Colleen.
Okay. I would like to respond to this. Number one, to Bucknell and Wasicki recommendations. They recommended to us that we stop sharing our computers and passwords, which we did immediately. Then I had cameras installed in the office, which we've never had cameras before in any treasurer's office, but we had it installed because I thought it was imperative. We also purchased a safe that each drawer is separately put in separate containers so that only the person who works that drawer has access. They are the only ones with keys. We also now have dual controls each time a deposit changes hands. For example, if the business privilege clerk or the person who does general fund makes a deposit and I am responsible to take it to the bank, that person signs off and I sign for it, so we know where all cash is at all times. Number two, deposits not being made. I can tell you exactly when I make deposits and do not make deposits. The months of April, May, and June, I was the only person in the office doing 4 jobs. The deposits were not made all the time because I was opening mail and making deposits, and at that time I made the decision that what I was doing was more important than running to the bank every day with a small deposit. There were days that there were not deposits made. I know step 3 months, did all the jobs myself with one person at their home doing the entry work. All the deposits ended up being made, and at one point, a person in administration told me I was his hero because I was working so hard and getting everything done. As far as cursing and screaming, I do have an Irish temper. I apologize for my cursing and screaming. However, I did speak to my staff. Each one has agreed I have never cursed or screamed at anybody. I generally curse and scream at myself and in the air. It's inexcusable, but it will not happen again. At the November 9th meeting, when you directed me to follow the township charter, unfortunately, I got sick and I was unable to comply. I came back after 6 weeks on January 4th. When I got sick, I had been working on the October and November treasurer's reports for the board. Those will be completed at the end of this week, and you will receive them all in the mail, or I will have someone bring them to your homes individually. I would just like to say that I have worked very hard at getting things done in this township. Even when I started in, a person quit and no one told me she was quitting, so I worked without a person in that position for several months. Then another person changed jobs. I worked without a person in that position for several months. My job was not replaced with a person for several months either. All the time, I was doing more than one job. I'm still finding incidents of issues from 2018 and 2019, which take an awful lot of my time to document and send things important off. Don't harass people for the money that they've already paid, and also to Bucknell and Lisicky. The only other thing I can say is I think this letter makes me look really bad, and I am not a bad person. I have complied with things that have to be done here, and aren't the things undone as you make it sound here. That's all I have to say. If anyone has any questions, I will be glad to answer them, or if you have any comments, I'll be glad to listen to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from the board on this issue? Any other comments from the public on this issue?
Yes, Nancy Genovese, who wishes to speak.
Okay, Senator, ask your question, please.
Nancy, you're unmuted.
We have been trying to get through back on the first issue regarding Station 40 and we've been sending messages and have not been.
Well, okay, hold on a second. I'll get back to you. I want to get clear the issue that's in front of us now, and when I have no more comments on that, then I will have Melissa put you back in. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Thank you. Any other comments on the statement just read?
Yeah, Mr. President,
Yes.
Vice President Marks,
Yes.
I take no pleasure in asking this request, but under item 3 of the previous statement, I ask that a motion be taken for the immediate resignation of Whitehall Township Treasurer Colleen Gober.
What was that? May I ask what that was?
You want to repeat that motion?
I make a motion for the immediate resignation of Whitehall Township Treasurer Colleen Gober.
Fine. Joe Marks wants me to resign. I have something else I would like to say, Mr. Marks. You all had an opinion about everything before you heard my side of this story. I'd like to know what you think when I cleared up all the issues.
Mrs. Gober, the only thing I can say is there's a lot of documented items pertaining to this statement. And our attorney has those documented items. And I ask that Mr. Gross furnish it or furnish.
I would like to see those. I would like to see those items.
Attorney Gross, how do we handle this? Do we go ahead with that motion and vote, or should should all these items be presented?
Mr. Marks made a motion. He can certainly withdraw the motion if he would like, in order to allow more time. There is a motion, and it should either be there should either be a request or it could certainly be withdrawn. I understand the treasurer's request, but it will need to be the it'll need to be the vice president's decision how he wants to proceed.
Because to go over all of this almost has to go into executive session because of names involved and everything else.
Correct. The remainder of the Bucknell-Lasicki report is confidential because it contains materials that are protected for various reasons from public disclosure.
So we
can't do them at a public
meeting. Can't cover that stuff tonight.
Not at a public meeting, no.
No, that would have to be called into executive session because of some of it, the sensitivity of some of it. All right, Commissioner Marks, where are you at?
I'd like to move with the motion.
I'd like to express my opinion. This is Commissioner Sloniker. It's my understanding that we can go ahead if you and you've already voted that you want that, but just asking us to ask an elected official to resign means nothing that person has to resign. We cannot take them out of office because there's been no proof of any type of unlawful conduct. So right now, this is something you're asking, which does not have to be complied to by the treasurer. And that's how I see it. That's my opinion on this.
Any other comments from the board?
The only thing I'd like to say is
who's speaking? I'm sorry, I can't tell.
Commissioner Fisher.
Yes.
I think I would like to see, if possible, I would like to see some of these issues discussed in executive session with the treasurer, if possible.
Commissioner Attia, I would also support an executive session and allow for Ms. Gober to have that opportunity, as well as to have some discussion. I voted at the time and we did not hear from Treasurer Gober, so she was able to respond later on. So I do think that would be appropriate.
Any other comments from the board?
I agree. Commissioner D agrees.
Commissioner Warren, I support that as well.
And I'm going to support that too, just to make sure that every possible chance is given for everybody to get 100% of the information that most of us know already, but to leave nothing unturned here, because this is a mess. And at least we're starting to get it out and telling the public exactly what has transpired here. It's been a long time. Any other comment? No. Any other comments?
Commissioner Sloniker, once again, I want to go over the same exact thing. We can request anything that does not make the treasurer somebody that has to comply to what we're saying. We do not have the right to get rid of somebody that we don't like that has been elected by the community. Simple as that.
Well, it's not a matter of not liking. I agree with most of what you said, but it's not a matter of not liking. I think we're looking at, is the job being done? But anyway, Commissioner Marks, where are you at with your motion? Do you wish to pull it?
Well, at this point, I'll give the treasurer an opportunity in executive session to explain herself. I'll retract that motion.
Okay, and then we will have to set up an executive session. We'll have to look.
Philip,
I'm sorry.
I think you have to go ahead and rescind your second of the motion.
I did not second it.
Oh, I thought you did. That's
No,
what I
there
have
was
down.
no second there. The other commissioners were speaking. It was only Mr. Marks' motion I did not get a chance to second it. Everybody else has spoken.
This is, I'm sorry. It was the original thing that
No, that one's
Vice
passed
President
already.
Marks. Okay, you second the very first thing, which led to this part here.
This has not been
And
seconded.
again, my
Bring it on.
confusion. Okay.
Now, I guess I'll call the attorney's office tomorrow and find out when we can all get together and where and how, and this has to go into executive session from this point further, that everybody's satisfied. Am I right where we're at, Attorney Gross?
That's correct. It sounds like there's a desire to have an executive session. If you call me tomorrow, we can work on a time. I suggest that the representatives of Bucknell Wasicki attend that executive session as well.
So we've got to get a bunch of people coordinated and stuff here. So we'll have to work on this. All right, that's the end of that for this evening. Next, report of the Board of Commissioners.
Phil, we had another guest that wanted to speak.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much for reminding me of that. Ma'am, go ahead now, please. I'm sorry to hold you off this long, and I almost forgot. So pardon me.
That's okay, I understand. But I know that there's other members of the township that wish to speak. We're just curious, should this not have been listed for some type of public hearing before the station just got shut down completely? There was no warning, there was nothing availed to the public about it. And now they're a 503c. How are they going to disperse what money they have in their funds? Who does that? Does the township do it? Does the firefighters do it? Because there's a problem.
I'm going to have to ask the mayor to answer your questions, if he would, please, on this.
The only response I have at this point is our solicitor to guide us in that regard. And that's where I am right now.
Mayor Harricle, this is Jack Gross. It is a separate legal entity. The township does not control it. So the township, the board, and the mayor, the administration don't have the ability to decide that issue, since it is a separate legal entity. I'm not sure. I haven't confirmed if it's a 501c3 or a 501c5 or other what its tax status is, but the township can't decide that.
Okay, but Attorney Gross, as their legal counsel, did they not have to have some type of notice before shutting them down completely without any notice after they had a meeting saying that they were staying open?
I'm not legal counsel to the fire company. I'm the township solicitor, so I'm sorry if you were indicating me whether they needed to do something. I can't answer that question. I believe and am confident that the mayor took the legal steps necessary regarding what the township did.
Okay. So we still have no decision as to who's going to help if they need to disband this 503c. Is it on the station itself?
Mayor, I'm reluctant again to give advice on this. I'm looking to you. I mean, perhaps if you wanted to, we could schedule a time to meet with representatives of the station. I don't think that could happen at a public meeting, but it's got to be clear that I'm solicitor for the township and don't represent that entity itself. So
I would be happy
for guidance as to what we are supposed to do. as a station what we are supposed to do from here. There's a lot of loose ends that no one has explained to us or what is supposed to happen.
I'm willing to sit down and meet with anybody to discuss that.
And Mayor, if you'd like me to participate, I'd be happy to do that. I don't think it's the best time to try and do it at a public board meeting.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Looking for guidance, like we're just looking for guidance as to where you expect that this station is going to go from here.
I'm sorry, I did not get your name.
My name is Nancy Genovese. My son was a member of Station 40.
Yes, and yes, I am willing to sit down with you and anybody else who wants to discuss the circumstance, and I've no doubt we can come to a reasonable decision as to how to move forward.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor, I'd be happy to attend that if you schedule it and you'd like me there.
Okay.
Anybody else that wanted to talk on this that didn't get in early in the meeting? All right, I'm going to take it as there's no other business from the public with comments. Under Commissioner's report, Commissioner D, would you mind starting, please?
Sure. Thank you, President Ginder. This Thursday is the grand opening of the Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative food pantry. It's going to be in the parking lot of St. John the Baptist Church in Stiles. I believe eventually it's going to be indoors, but the very first one is going to be outdoors in the back parking lot. There's going to be a ribbon cutting at 10:30, and then they will proceed with it's a drive-in pickup food outdoors in the back parking lot. So everybody's welcome to attend the ribbon cutting. I do believe all of the food is spoken for. There's a list of clients who have previously registered. Moving forward, it will be open every second Thursday of the month. There are 2 pickups, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 5:30 to 7 p.m. There has been a flyer that's been around and distributed. Again, it's at St. John the Baptist Church in Stiles. It, I believe, will eventually be inside once they get the kitchen up and running, but for now, it's an outdoor pickup, and volunteers are definitely invited to participate. If you are interested in volunteering or you would like to become, there are income limits, but if you'd like to see if you are eligible, I'm going to give you a phone number that you can write down. Again, if this is for anybody who is looking for help with food during COVID, I know it's been tough on a lot of families. Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative and Sherry Noctor has just done unbelievable work. Jeff Warren's been heavily involved in this as well. They're just doing wonderful work to the community. So if you'd like to volunteer, you can just show up. But if you'd like to get on the list as a client and to check if you are eligible, 610-730-8067. I'll repeat that, 610-730-8067. So again, thank you to all the members of the Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative, especially Sherry Noctor, for the great work they were doing. She's really worked hard on this. I know she's very proud of it. And again, the grand opening will be this Thursday, St. John the Baptist Church in Stiles. Thank you.
Is that all, Commissioner D?
Yes, thank you, President Ginder.
All right, Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, President Ginder. So, I mean, the main thing I want to talk about and bring up, it has to do with the pandemic. So, we're about 2 weeks out from Christmas. We're about 1 week out from New Year's, which were 2 very large events, large gathering events. And odds are, in the next few weeks, we're going to probably see more spikes in the virus nationwide, statewide, locally. They usually say hospitalizations usually follow about 3 weeks behind. So, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, But I mean, January and February are going to be, as the experts are saying, probably some of the worst months of the pandemic. So as I've been saying all along, everyone please wear your masks, please exercise social distancing. The next few months are going to be rough. Now, the light is at the end of the tunnel. Exactly 1 month ago today, on December 11th, the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine was approved, and we are already beginning to see people getting second doses of the vaccine. So in about a week from now, you should actually be, these people who first got the vaccine in December are going to be near 95% immunity for themselves personally. The vaccine rollout has been bumpy. We're, as a country, as a state, we're still trying to get more and more people vaccinated. I tell everyone, I tell my wife, who's a teacher in a Catholic school right now, be patient. The vaccines are coming. Now, that being said, when the vaccines are coming, we're finally at that point. It's taken me, God, like 9-10 months till we got to this point that says, you know, the vaccines are here, please take them. And I will say I'm kind of discouraged when I hear that there's lots of people that are refusing them right now. When the vaccine comes and when I am eligible to take it, I am going to take it. And I strongly encourage everyone listening, everyone out there in Radio Land, please, please, please take this vaccine. The only way we are going to end this pandemic is either through vaccination or everybody gets COVID. And frankly, I'd much rather take the former option of the vaccination rather than the latter. So please, please, the light at the end of the tunnel is here. Wear your masks, be patient, and when you can, please get vaccinated. That's all I've got this evening. Everyone stay safe.
Commissioner Tia.
Bill, just one quick thing. I did want to recognize, I saw the other day, it was, I believe, January 9th was National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Chief Marks, just want to, send my gratitude and thank him and his department for, always serving Whitehall Township and doing a great job. So thank you.
Commissioner Warren.
I'll be real brief. I do want to thank the members that stepped up to serve on our boards and commissions. And what McD has said about the Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative is spot on. Well-run organization. They send out weekly updates and well-run organization with accountability. Want to let the board members know that the fence is up at the farm to expand the garden. We're on again, off again with the shed placement, and that will be happening any day now, weather permitting. That's all I have.
Commissioner Sloniger.
Is Frank Clark on the horn here?
I'm here, Tom.
Can you tell me what the status of the turn lane in front of the Wawa on MacArthur Road is with the state?
I have to check back with them. I did request them to remove that island there when they do their work for the resurfacing project. I'll have to circle back with them.
Because we all know that down at the entrance where you turn to go up Church Street, and there we're getting ready for the big trucks coming in, I guess, at the, no, is that further down? I think
That's it.
No, it's the next one down at the Weiss's. Isn't it?
No.
Where they've
it's
already expanded it down at the Weiss's. And again, I know that's coming, but I thought they would somehow try to coordinate both of them. I know it's difficult during the holiday season, but
Well, those are two different projects. The one that's being expanded, the left-hand turn lane, as you approach South Church by the AutoZone, that's being done by the warehouse people. The one in front of the Wawa, I'm pinning that on Penndot with the resurfacing project because they're the ones that changed it during the safety project for MacArthur Road.
Okay, and it's just something like everything else needs a little bit of oil to make it stop squeaking. That's all.
There you go. I agree.
That's all.
Commissioner Marks.
Yeah, Mr. Clark, while you're on.
Yes, Joe.
I had a request from one of our citizens, Bernie Medea, today, and I looked at the situation and talked to Mr. Ginder about this also. South Church Street and Chestnut Street. If you're going northbound on South Church Street before you get up the hill to turn onto Chestnut Street,
Yes.
the line of sight there is very bad, and especially for the elderly because their response times aren't as good as younger people. And, you know, cars come down that hill at a pretty good clip.
Absolutely.
Can we talk to Penndot about possibly getting the property owners to cut their trees back a little? Even though there's no foliage on them, it's really hard to see traffic coming down the hill, you know, and if your reaction times aren't good, it's going to be a close call.
I agree. We've had that issue before. That's that property is owned by Janda. We can reach out to have them maintain that.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Ginder.
Okay, Joe, thanks.
While we're on that subject, PennDOT did put on a call out for municipalities to provide input on safety hazards within the township on state roads. And maybe that's a candidate for, because I know there have been several accidents right there at that intersection. There's no turning lane when you're going northbound. You're coming down the hill at 35, 40 miles an hour and a sudden car is stopped. So I don't know if we can add that to our wish list for areas to be looked at by PennDOT.
Where did you see that list at, Jeff?
The mayor put out a request for feedback.
Okay.
And it was a solicitation from PennDOT. They're subcontracting some traffic studies coming up.
Okay.
They want to get a wish list from municipalities.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Is that all, Commissioner Marks?
That's all I have.
Frank, don't go far. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Where are we at with the big stormwater pipe with the sewer authority?
I actually had a conversation with Dave Sherman last week and got some more information. So we're looking to try to set up a meeting with Dave Harleman and his team and myself and our team and get together at an actual meeting along with Dave to share our information. So we're looking to do that, hopefully get this done this week.
So the sewer authority has the information back they needed from their engineers?
Yes.
All right. Well, hopefully by next month, we'll have some answers on this pipe before it completely collapses.
I certainly hope so, Phil.
Spring is coming and that's, a lot of heavy water coming through.
Yep.
And how are we doing with Penndot on Bridge Street and our responsibilities on Lehigh Avenue?
With Lehigh Avenue, we have the design finished for the grade beam. That's being reviewed right now by a contractor or two to get some budget prices for us. And as soon as we have that, we'll go back to administration and decide what we're going to do and then move forward with the detour, then the repairs.
Okay, and Bridge Street is, I consider part of that. I know that's on PennDOT's back. Do they still have it on their list to do and that it didn't fall through the cracks?
I'm not certain. I haven't really been watching that one. I'll find out for you.
If you have conversations with them, just to make sure it doesn't fall through the cracks, because the weather's been good so far this winter. There's no reason we can't get some of this work done, because I'm sure there'll be more in spring.
Oh, I'm sure.
And that's all I have. The mayor's report.
Okay. I attended the swearing-in ceremony of Sean Monahan. That actually happened today. He's our latest new officer. Came to us from Philadelphia, and it's a remarkable young man. I think he's going to be a great officer for us with the training and background he has. He's very impressive. There are two things I wanted to bring you up to date on. And one of them is Riverside Drive. We've discussed this for 3 years now, I think. At this point, the project along the Lehigh River in Allentown, owned by the Jandal family, in this instance, Trestle is the name of the organization. The intent is to bring that road along the river all the way up to Race Street, Unfortunately, for the third year in a row, I think we did not manage to get a build grant. So where that leaves that project right now is that the last of the developed road right now would probably end right around the American Parkway. But there are still plans moving forward to push that along up to Ray Street as a part of the DNL trail. And we had a long discussion more than once in December, and we're in the process of arranging to have people actually walking along to make some decisions about how we're going to move this forward, where we're going to be bending this off. And right now, there's some problem in identifying exactly how that's going to happen closer up to Ray Street. Tied into that is the 22 project, the Route 22 project, as you know, was on this 5-year TIP plan. But because we've lost a lot of money, that is not going to come to us from the state, that project was pushed back, and I don't think it's going to happen within the next few years. They are doing improvements along 22. They're going to be putting in some noise buffering locations along much of the area between the Lehigh River and the Jordan Creek. And so that's moving forward. Also moving forward is the planning on the Fifth Street Bridge in Fullerton. That's now become a standalone project, and that continues to move forward. We're continuing to interact with Penndot regularly on that. When 22 does get built, I think we've discussed this before, Wood Street's going to wind up being closed. The Wood Street, as we know it now, would bend at 2nd Street and go along, going toward the north of the property of the American Legion. There will be a road that will come out facing Park Street, and that will be at that signaled intersection there. So those three things are going on coincidentally at this point. We also had, even though it bled into January, we had a meeting with Penndot consultant about the installation or the building of the new bridge on 329, and that's moving forward. The anticipation is that bids will be let in April of 2022, with construction beginning in 2023. That will also see the construction of an enlarged parking lot on the north side. The property south of 329 is still owned by Norfolk Southern and Lafarge. There's some presumption that we're going to be able to get that within the next few years also. Although working with Norfolk Southern is just not a fun thing to do right now, or if ever. So some of the larger projects that are still on the board are moving forward, and the bridge will not require that we close down the existing bridge on 329. It will be built to the south side, and there'll be very few days toward the end of the project when it won't be accessible. As a matter of fact, I think they may have indicated that they can do this one lane at a time and always maintain traffic moving there. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to take them. If not, that would be the end of what I need to address this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Treasurer's report. Is the treasurer there, Mike?
Yes, I want to say that by January 23rd, we will be closing out for the year 2020. We still have some things coming in with legitimate postmarks that we have to take, so we usually wait till mid or closer to the end of January to close out. So at that time, all reports will be ready for the next Board of Commissioners meeting. And if anyone has anything else they wish to discuss with me, they're welcome to call me at any time. I appreciate you listening to what I had to say tonight. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything, public or commissioners or staff, that they wish to go over at this point? Melissa, anything from the public?
No comments from the public.
There being none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion, Fisher.
Do I have a second?
I'll second D.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening.
Take care.
Tom, did you get my, no,
I got your message. What time?
10 o'clock.
What time?
10 o'clock.
Should be okay.
All right, I'll get you about 10 at 10.
Okay,
And we'll go in and sign. All right, catch you later.
thank you. Okay.
Okay, stop the recording. And then just end the event.